Hello, Danvers. I'd like to call our meeting to order. Let's do the Pledge of Allegiance, please. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Thank you. Okay, so we don't have any members of the public here, so we can skip right by that section. And has everyone had a chance to look over the minutes from March 12th? Yes, no, maybe?
I did, but I have to abstain because I wasn't here.
As well as myself.
Okay.
Motion to accept the minutes?
Thank you. Second?
I'll second it.
Okay, all in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? And 2 abstain.
Mm-hmm.
Did you get that, Julie? The 2 abstentions? Thank you. Okay, so that's approved, and then we've got the trustees' report. My report, I think we're going to go down under old business and do the scholarship. I can tell you that we've also worked on the investment committee, and you'll be getting that probably later this week or early next week, and we'll vote on that at our next meeting. So I'm hearing some people didn't see the information I sent out. Okay. All right.
Well, I would suggest that you have everybody look at it now and read through that.
I don't have it.
Oh, you don't have it?
I didn't get it.
What, the scholarship committee thing?
Mm-hmm.
I mean,
I can get it to you. I can send it to you tonight.
Well, no, I'm saying that, like, she was saying that everybody has gotten
Oh,
it,
but does
no one
everyone
has
have
it
the
and-
ability to see it on their phone right now? Or we can just vote on it next month. Know that it's in your email. I'll send it out again. And I don't know how to do it to make sure everybody's gotten it.
Well, I just looking at the email I got, and it was sent the 16th of March.
Yeah.
So,
It's
yeah,
That's
really
two
that's the
attachments.
email
Yeah.
with the 2 attachments.
Yes.
Mhm.
Yeah.
Yep.
I'm just not sure if we should vote on it.
I guess
if
you
we
have to,
haven't read
yeah,
it.
you're going to have to table it, I guess.
Okay, so I'd like to table that then till next month, and I'm also going to send out the investment committee changes to you to look over that as well. So there'll be 3 things we're going to vote on at our next meeting. If you don't have them, please let me know, text me. I'll make sure you all have my number before we leave tonight. You probably all have it, but, and that will be the scholarship policy, the application for the scholarship, and it's also going to include the investment committee, the information that we just had to update it because it was kind of outdated. We saw a few other things that were just verbiage that we had to change. But that's, the investment committee pretty much stands as it did, just updating it. Okay. Okay, anything else? Okay, Treasurer, can we get a report?
Yeah, I'm sorry. I'm just a little like, yeah. So this will be the January to February, because where Jessica wasn't here last month, I guess it didn't get done, right? Or did that get done?
the treasurer's report?
Right.
No, was not done.
Okay. So for January to February, the beginning balance was, and I'll give this to you, Julie, $631,092.55. There was an add of $1,089.61, $5,000 withdrawal, so change in value $3,214.29. So the new balance as of the end of February was $639,842.93. Neither Jessica nor myself got the one for this month. I would say that whoever takes over as treasurer might want to tell Cornerstone they do have to mail them out earlier. We were always getting them well in advance.
Yeah.
I don't know what has happened that, well, I mean, at least a week in advance.
Oh, I never got them a week in advance.
Was it a
but
few
they
days?
were usually the week of
Yeah,
the meeting.
the week
I
of.
don't-
Yeah, or, well, yeah. I always got them like probably the Friday at least. It was the previous week, but I don't know what's happened, but anyway, whoever takes over as treasurer may want to make sure that they come earlier. But at least this is January to February, and then I'm sure it'll come tomorrow in the mail or the day after, and then, yeah, so whoever can do that the next time. But you can at least make, take a motion for January to February.
Okay. All right.
And
So-
Julie, I'll give this to you at the end of the meeting.
Could you please?
Yeah. I'll pass it down now even.
Okay, so do we need to vote to approve the one you?
Yep.
All right, so that one was, all right, so,
January to February.
okay, January to February, can I get a motion to approve the treasurer's report?
I'll vote to approve.
Okay, I've got a motion.
Second.
Thank you. All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Okay, and then we'll have the following month, next month. Yeah, it's a problem, because I think they just send them out to everybody, and so getting it to us early, I've
and
called them.
I'll make sure I call, cause Natalie won't be here next meeting, so I'll make sure I call to get that report if I
Yeah,
don't get it.
and that's what I would just do when I didn't get it in time.
Right,
Or I will have that one, cause it'll be coming to me, but then the one for next month, so hopefully I'll have both
right,
of them.
you'll do,
February to March and March to April,
right,
cause the next meeting will have the new member here
right.
and no treasurer.
And no treasurer, right, exactly, yeah, so good luck with all of
Thank
that.
you. We got it,
talk
we
about
got it.
that.
Hmm?
We should talk later about that.
Well, Jess will do it.
Yeah.
So,
What was that?
Jess will do it.
Yeah,
So
yeah,
she
yeah,
said we
'cause
should
I'm-
talk about
Right,
that, but
because
you
I
just said you
share
would
it,
take care of it.
Right, because that's what the bylaws
And we'll be
say.
voting.
That's,
No, I understand.
yeah, that's what the bylaws say. If there's no treasurer, the vice chair does the report,
Right.
right.
Okay, director's report?
For anybody who doesn't know or remember me, I'm Jennifer McGeorge. I'm the assistant director. I'm filling in for Noel tonight, so thank you for having me. Okay, so pretty brief report. Building safety is the first thing up. Noel met with Police Chief Lovell with regards to safety and signage around the library. He didn't feel there was any need for more signage than we already have planned. But he felt that it would be a good idea to have signs for each room, specific room indicating what room you're in. So if you needed help, you could say, I'm in the teen room, or what have you. Okay, he felt with the panic buttons and the security cameras, further safety measures were no longer not currently necessary, particularly as the police department can access the cameras at any
Right.
time. Okay, on March 25th.
And just so, can I
Yeah.
just, do you want to just talk about the cameras that we have so the public
The
can
cameras,
hear
well,
what
the
we have?
cameras are in public shared areas of the library on all floors. The police have access to them. We haven't had to use them. Noel also has access to them, but it's also, it's not an easy process to just sit and look at them. But they're there, and I believe they're kept for, it's 6 weeks maybe? I'm not sure exactly how long the recordings are held on to.
All right, so the public coming in is pretty well
All the
protected.
entrances have them,
Right.
yep.
And
Mhm.
we're also very concerned about their privacy, so there's
Mhm.
no cameras looking at what people are reading or
No.
checking out.
No, they're not in the
So-
study rooms, they're not in
Right.
the study areas, yeah.
Okay, thank you.
Okay. Okay, so also with building safety in mind, Noel met with the fire prevention officer, Brandon Lamson, to do a walkthrough to see if there's anything we needed to have improved. They discovered 4 fire extinguishers in need of replacement. So while that's alarming, it's good to have discovered that. And we need 4 exit signs, lit exit signs to be added. DPW is now working on that.
Thank you.
And, okay, next up is the budget. Budget was successfully presented to the select board on March 15th. Thank you to Corey and Julie for attending. A lot of nice things were said, particularly going after the school. We take so much time. The 5 minutes that we took, I think, was a welcome relief. So, the next budget presentation is coming up for the Finance Committee. That's next week. We don't have our scheduled time just yet. And we've received...
Do we have an exact date?
No, it's the week of the 14th. We haven't received a slot. I'm sure we'll have it very shortly. Okay. And the second half of our state aid allotment arrived, totaling this half is $37,205.95. Programs and outreach, the Friends are moving forward with programs for something at Endicott Park and a children's concert for the summer concert series, and that will be held in August. For museum passes, which the Friends generously sponsor, they're adding the Harvard Museums, and they're also looking to add the Trustees of the Reservations. That one I think will be very popular. Yeah. Book sale is scheduled for June 10th through the 14th, and donations will be accepted the week of June 2nd. And that will be publicized widely because it's a big deal. Okay. Okay, I have a note to add with with regards to Space Week. The library will be taking part in Massachusetts Space Week, which is the week of April 21st. 2 programs were scheduled and had to be canceled, so right now the staff is working on something to replace those two programs. It's unfortunate, but
Are they having the telescope one again coming back?
I'm
at all?
sorry, we cannot hear you.
No, I'm not sure your mic is on.
Are you having the telescope one that's coming back? Okay, well.
no. The telescope program?
There's a telescope program that was there last year. I was just asking if it was coming back.
I don't think that was scheduled. We had an
Okay.
astronomer coming to do 2 different programs.
Okay.
One was on UFOs and one was generally on astronomy to cover all ages. I don't know if that may be coming to replace this.
Okay. Yeah, 'cause
But there'll be
my
more.
kids had a blast looking at the moon and
Yeah.
stuff. They
You
had
get a clear
like 4
night,
or
it's a lot of
5
fun.
Yeah, it was cute.
Did you get that, Julie?
No,
Okay. In summary, I guess there was a program last year that the kids really loved, and Jess was asking if that program was going to be here this year.
what was the program?
Telescopes.
Yeah, it was
So-
a bunch of people that had telescopes that were.
It was a Gloucester astronomy group,
Okay.
I think. There's an astronomy group in Gloucester, I believe.
Microphone
It's
not
not.
working.
It's not working.
Is yours working?
Mine's
It-
not
I think
working.
mine
It
is.
is.
Yeah.
You just have to get really close to yours. You
I-
should come have mine.
Can you hear me now?
Yeah.
So yeah, so my kids loved it last year. That's why I asked, because it was
What was the program?
it was a bunch of telescopes set up where the kids could actually look at the the stars and the moon and stuff. So it was really cute.
Thank you.
But it's not coming back for Astronomy Week this time.
As of now, I'm guessing that with the cancellation of the 2 other programs, we'll be replacing it with something. I'm just not certain what that will be.
We just
It
don't
was
know.
it was
the
just
agenda.
canceled today.
Right. Nice.
Yeah. Timely. Okay. The Children's Department is working with the American Society of Magicians. They're a group that often meets in our classroom to do kind of an open house to recruit young people to become magicians. The Children's Department is working with them to provide a magic show and a workshop that's going to take place on April 24th. And the New England Homes for the Deaf had their first site visit to the library in March. It was 4 residents with some aides accompanying them to check out materials, learn about the library, and this is scheduled to become a monthly event. I don't. Yeah.
Great.
That's wonderful, by the
Yeah.
way.
Yeah, it's really special. It's really appreciated by them. Okay, and our grant for the deaf and hard of hearing for this year is focused on programming. So the Children's Department has held sign language story time 4 times. Once a month. It was sign language story time, and they've booked 3 events where ASL, American Sign Language interpreters, interpret for the hard of hearing in the audience. And there's more to be scheduled, for sure, for adults as well, and that's what we have right now.
Do we have children coming to those events that are hard of hearing?
I don't know, because I haven't been
But
in the
once we do
library.
this, we may be
I wouldn't be,
getting
yeah,
more.
I assume that we do.
Okay.
We definitely have hard of hearing adults who
Yes,
attend
yes, that
programs
I know.
and use the services, so my assumption is that there's children as well.
Thank you.
Okay. Let's see. Head of Outreach Services, Jillian Parsons, and Head of Circulation, Drew Meager, are working on a policy for our community board and what gets posted for events around town. We get a lot of requests for people to post, items for sale, nonprofits, all kinds of things. And they're working on a very specific policy that we'll be using. According to Noel, no vote is needed on that now. Once they have the policy, they'll add it to a packet in a future meeting. And, okay. More policy. The standing room has become very, very busy in terms of the art shows. It's completely booked through this year. So Noelle would like to develop a policy around the use, around the space, how we book the shows. And she'd like to have that ready for the June meeting. Okay. Staff. Lots going on with the staff. Chelsea Shepard, who's currently the assistant head of children's, will be moving to the head of teen services. That is a promotion, and she'll begin in May. Leaves an opening in the children's room, so we'll be a little bit busy down there, little backed up, but we'll be working on that. Megan Berger has been hired as a new senior page to replace Jan Kent, who retired earlier this year. She starts later this month. The full-time assistant librarian position that was occupied by Lorraine Jukes, she's now the assistant head of circulation. That position is open and will be posted this month, along with a 10-hour part-time assistant librarian position. We hope to fill those pretty quickly because, as I've said, we're a little light on staff. The assistant head of children's position that's being vacated by Chelsea in May. That will also be posted later this month. And Noelle will be attending the Massachusetts Library Association Conference in Falmouth, May 19th and 20th. And she'll be interviewing Massachusetts Attorney General Andrea Joy Campbell as part of the conference. And that's all I have.
Thank you.
Did you get everything, Julie?
Yep.
Okay. I wasn't too fast?
No, I was able
I talk quickly.
I was able to read it.
Good. Okay.
And just for the public listening, it's important to note that the library itself isn't responsible for hiring. We have to work with the town to do that. So it's not always up to us.
No, we work with the
regarding
Human
how
Resources
quickly
Department.
We get that
Mhm,
done.
yep.
Exactly. Okay. Perfect. And
Oh, may I add one more thing?
Yes, of course.
Noelle, I don't know if this is new business or part of her report. We were approached by Kelly Teixeira from Veteran Services, and they were interested in providing an outside old flag disposal box somewhere on the grounds, and they would provide the box and they would arrange for the pickups. They want to know if the trustees would be in favor of that. Once they have some more details, they'll be sending that along for the next meeting.
perfect.
Okay?
Okay.
Great.
And that was under new business, so we'll just.
Oh, my apologies.
No, it's fine. So we'll just move right into new
Okay.
business. Okay, and the other thing was the community board policy?
That's the policy that's worked on by
That's this
Jill,
back here.
Jillian and Drew. That's
Got
for the
it.
front hall. There's
Yep,
a
yep, yep.
bulletin board that advertises
Okay,
community
so
events.
both of those were
Yeah.
covered. Perfect. Okay, and then it's Natalie's last meeting, and she wanted to say a few
Can we
words.
just, as far as the community board policy,
Mhm.
we're going to review it?
Yes, they're preparing one now,
Yeah.
and it will be submitted at a later meeting.
Okay, because it's in our folder, that's why.
Oh, okay.
It's in the back of the packet.
Oh, okay. Well, no, so there's no need for a vote at this point.
Right,
So,
because it's the first everyone's seeing it,
Yeah.
so.
yeah.
All right, so we're
Okay.
supposed to review this?
Mhm. Yeah, so please review that. All right, before we move into Natalie, let me just say, I'm going to send everything back out that some people didn't receive. And from now on, in addition to using email, I'll also text you when I'm sending things out so you can be on the lookout for it. I know sometimes things are easy to overlook. I overlooked something from Jen. I have so many emails, I've got to
I
just.
overlooked this.
I've got to just drop that email and get a new one. I can't keep up with it anymore. So I'll make sure I text everybody when I send it back out so you can be on the lookout for it. And there'll be 3 different things that I want to vote on, definitely at the next meeting. We've discussed them all before. We finalized it, fleshed it out, and I sent out a copy so everybody could review it.
There is, in the folders that you guys got, there is the draft that's here. So that's in the folder itself that we got.
Because I'd sent it to Noelle, but
I don't actually have that.
I don't think I do either.
Okay, I'm sorry, what is, you're talking the community bulletin?
No,
board?
no. No, what I sent out was the scholarship policy.
I'm sorry, what is?
That's what I'm talking about, the scholarship policy. It's in I had it in the folder that came
I
tonight.
did not have it in my
I
folder, so
don't have
I think that might
I'm
just
just
be a
special.
you thing, yeah.
I have it, I got it too. I have it right here.
Is it in there? It's
No,
not,
it's not in mine.
it's not stapled.
No, I don't have it.
Okay.
I have a map of the library. Am I supposed to have that?
Yeah, no, that's not in our folder.
Yeah, I didn't have it either. It looks like,
Some did, some didn't. Okay. That's okay.
Here,
Sorry,
you
mine
can
either.
take mine if you want, because I don't need
oh
it.
no, I don't need it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Draft, yeah.
Okay. And I'll make sure that gets sent out along with the investment committee. And all that was updating what we've talked about at 2 of our previous meetings. We just fleshed it out, finished it up, and so I just needed everybody to look at it. There might be typos or something. I don't think so, but not perfect, so. And I'd like to get those 3 things done, and then hopefully we'll have more going forward on these other 2 policies. Okay, so I want to turn it over to Natalie. She wanted to say,
Yeah, so just a couple of things that I would have brought up in upcoming meetings. One of the things is that, speaking of policies, and Jen mentioned it as part of the fire department and the police department, about the panic buttons. So, making policies, I think someone has to make sure that the policies are being enacted. The staff has not been wearing panic buttons that I've seen several of the last times I've been in there. So either someone has to enforce them wearing them, or negate the policy, because having a policy and having nobody enforce the policy, and if something goes wrong, I think that is a liability for everybody. So that was something that I would have brought up at future meetings. So do with it what you will. It's just a suggestion. Another thing is, at one point, I know Mike and I had to address this with some trustees with the amount of absentees that they've had. We didn't have a policy. We didn't really need to make one after that. Those 2 particular board members resigned because they couldn't fulfill their duties. So my suggestion would be that you make a policy for absentees clearly we had at one point, I think there was going to be a contested race, and then a couple dropped out. I don't think they maybe necessarily wanted to drop out, but they did. But, clearly there's people who would like to be on the board, and if somebody, isn't able to fulfill their duties, maybe it would be an opening for somebody else. So at some point, maybe you want to make a policy on absentees. Obviously sickness, things like that is one thing, but if someone has other things taking precedent, that's not really an excused absence, so to speak. So that was something else I would have brought up at some point. The other thing I really hope going forward that the board will go by the strategic plan that you just did and really kind of get working on checking off some of those things. And I hope one of the priorities will be really making a plan for the archives. We've talked about it really for way too many years, and so now I really hope that going forward there will be a plan for the archives, updating it, making it more accessible to, say, someone in a wheelchair, things like that. Part of the sorry, I'm not looking your way at all, Jess. Otherwise I'll be doing this. Part of the money that got donated that's been sitting in the CD, I think that a really fiscally responsible thing to do with that money would be to put a lot of it towards the archives. New furniture, making it much more accessible to handicapped people, being able to get in there and navigate around, which they cannot do now because of the configuration and the size of the furniture and whatnot in there. Those are just some things that I would have really wanted to pursue this coming time had I stayed. So I'm hoping that you all will embrace that. So take it for what it is, and I just wanted to say it.
And I have been working with Noelle on some of that. It's difficult right now because Richard's not here. So,
Again, I don't know that things need to say it as standstill because of that.
no, I
yeah.
agree. And things are changing. We've talked about some of them, but yes,
Mhm.
yes, they
Right.
are. But thank you.
Mhm.
We will.
All right, so that's it.
Okay. Anybody else? Anything?
Yes, I'd like to chime in here if I could, Madam Chairman. Natalie, thank you so much for bringing that up. Wish you well in your new endeavor there.
Thank you.
We, 30 years, or maybe less than that, 25 at least, the time that I've been around here, it took forever for library trustees and the director and other people to realize that safety is very important at the library. And I can't thank you enough for bringing that up about what your observations are. We fought vigorously in the beginning. In the children's room, the shelves were stacked to the ceiling. And I brought that to the board at that time. They were clutching their chests saying, "What are you talking about? We have a convex mirror in the back, like a dime store." They had a convex mirror that was gonna protect the children. We got that down, the shelves are down, it's pretty much open. The chance of instances taking place are lessened. Then we managed to get 2 cameras. That was another battle. So people could see who's coming, who's going. It was important because relaying the message that if something happens in that building, we want to be able to see at least who came and who went. That worked out for a while. And then finally, pushing forward with a lot of hard work and a lot of listening, we have the system we have today. We also, after the slaughter in Winchester of a innocent employee reading a book, murdered, we decided that employees are going to wear panic buttons. There's pushback on that. And the policy is very clear that they're supposed to wear them where they're accessible in the event that it's all for them. And not wearing them is a violation of the policy. As far as I know, the library board of trustees sets policy. And then we guide the director. The director works for the board of trustees. I think we need to find out, Madam Chair, next month, why this policy is not being forwarded.
And I intend to do that. She's not here this
Well,
week.
I think
And,
we
and
oughta-
again, since we don't deal with the employee issues, we can't tell them what to do, but certainly the director
Now,
can.
if you hear me out, Madam Chairman, we should have an agenda item next month and have the director here to answer questions as to why the policy is not being followed.
Okay.
We set the policy. There is a policy. Natalie made a good point. You have it or you don't, but it's very important to keep that policy. And kudos to the director and whoever else is involved to reach out to chief level and the fire prevention officer to check that building.
Mhm.
Awesome, great job. I go with what the chief says in fire. It's important, but I just can't stress enough that the tail does not wag the dog in this board. They answer to us. It's important. I want to know next month why policy is not being followed.
They is Noel, not the employees. The employees do not answer to us.
We don't
He's
go in
saying-
and tell employees what to do, but we can go in and observe what employees do.
That's
Yeah,
fine.
the everyday actions of a town employee. I was a town employee for 42 years. I didn't want anybody to follow me around, but if there's a policy, you better follow it.
And that was up to the chief to enforce that. And
Well, the chief, lieutenant, captain, sergeant, but there's also.
there's a chain of command.
You don't need the director to run around telling people what to do. They know what to do. They know what the policy is. People in charge of their section, research, whatever, where's your panic button? We don't have to have Mother Hen run around chasing everybody. Her job is to run the library, and the employees are supposed to follow policy. And if there's not gonna be following the policy, we need to find out why. And then you run into issues, well, you know, that's, I wanna find out the answers next month, why, I wanna know why policy, especially that one, is not being followed.
It will be on the agenda. Okay, anybody else? All right, if nothing else, I'll take a motion to adjourn.
I'll make my final motion to adjourn.
I'll second that.
And who said it?
I'll second. Sorry.
All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed?
Can somebody tell me what time
It is 7:31. I think that's a record.